All right, let's take a look at our practice test. We're told to solve each word problem. So for problem number 1, we are told that a boat can go 36 miles against the current in the same amount of time that it takes to go 156 miles with the current. If the current is 5 miles per hour, how fast does the boat travel in still water? All right, so before we get into this problem, we should recognize that this is a motion word problem. So this is something where we're going to use our distance formula. So distance, which is d, is equal to the rate of speed, which is r, multiplied by the time traveled, which is t. So I'm just going to go to a little table. This is generally how we solve these. I'm going to put d for distance is equal to r for rate times t for time. Okay, now we have two scenarios. One scenario is for against. So this means we're going against the current or fighting the current. And then the other scenario is with. So that means we're going with the current or the current is pushing on us or helping us. Now, I would start by just putting some information in that's given. It says that a boat can go 36 miles against the current in the same amount of time that it takes to go 156 miles with the current. So we are told that it's 36 miles in the scenario where we're going against and 156 miles in the scenario where we're going with. So let's put that in. So we're going to put a 36 here, under distance and with against, and then 156 here, so under distance, and then that's going to be for this with guy here. Okay, let's think about the rate and then the time. So for the rate, we are asked specifically, how fast does the boat travel in still water? So we don't know that. We are only given that the current is 5 miles per hour. So this right here is something that we're going to need to add or subtract onto the speed of the boat in still water. So because we don't know that, let's let a variable like x be equal to that. So we'll say we're going to let x be equal to this specifically. So we'll say the speed, we'll say of the boat, and this will be in still water. Okay, so what we'll do, let's come down here and say that the rate when we're going against, we have the speed of the boat in still water, which is x, and I'm fighting the current, so I need to subtract away the current, which is 5 miles per hour, so minus 5. Then for the scenario where we're going with, well, now it's pushing on me or helping me, so it's the speed of the boat in still water, which is x, and then plus 5, which is the speed of the current. So I have my distance and I have my rate, but I do not have a time. So let's go back up and let's think about this. Are we told anything specifically about the time? Well, yes, but it doesn't actually help us to model time. It says here the same amount of time. Okay, so the same amount of time. We're going to use that to set up an equation, but we can't really use that to model the time. What we have to do is take our distance formula, so distance equals rate times time, and we have to solve it for time. So basically, I would divide both sides of the equation by r. This would cancel. I'm going to flip this around and say time is equal to distance divided by rate. So using this, I'm just going to say this time here is the distance, which is 36, divided by the rate, which is x minus 5. I'm going to do the same thing here. So the time is the distance, which is 156, divided by the rate, which is x plus 5. Okay, so not too bad. Now, the key to the problem, again, let's go back up. It says the same amount of time. So that means that this boat can go 36 miles against the current in the same amount of time that it takes to go 156 miles with the current. So when I look at this, I would just set these two times equal to each other and I would solve. So I would say this is 36 over x minus 5. And we'll say this equals 156 over x plus 5. Now, this is a rational equation, but it's a very simple one. It's one where we can just solve using cross multiplication. And I would note that your domain here would specifically exclude -5 or +5, but it's really not going to come up here because this is such a simple equation. So we're going to multiply this way, and then we're going to multiply this way. So we would have 156 times the quantity x minus 5. Then we'll say this equals, we would have 36 multiplied by the quantity x plus 5. Now, you can go through and distribute and do all that stuff if you want, but I like to work with smaller numbers, and I think a lot of you do as well. So if you think about 156 and 36, they're each divisible by 12. So I'm going to divide this by 12, and I'm going to divide this by 12. 156 divided by 12 is 13, and then 36 divided by 12 is 3. Okay, so you can always multiply or divide both sides of an equation by the same non-zero number. You're not going to change the solution set, so it's perfectly legal. So over here, I would now have 13 times x, which is 13x, and then minus 13 times 5, which is 65. And this equals 3 times x, which is 3x, and then plus 3 times 5, which is 15. I'm going to subtract 3x away from each side of the equation. This will cancel. I'm going to add 65 to both sides of the equation, this would cancel. So 13x minus 3x, that's going to give me 10x. And this will be equal to 15 plus 65 is 80. Now to finish things up, I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by 10. This would cancel, and we get x is equal to 80 divided by 10 is 8. Now coming back up, x was the speed of the boat in still water. So that answers our question, how fast does the boat travel in still water? Well, it's going to be 8 miles per hour. So I can just put 8 miles per hour. If you want to write out a sentence, that's really up to you. Now, if you want to check this, you want to think about the time for each scenario and make sure they are equal. So let me actually erase all of this and let's think about this. In the first scenario, we're told that the boat can go 36 miles against the current. Okay, so against the current. So we know right now that the speed of the boat in still water is 8 miles per hour. The speed of the current is 5 miles per hour. So this boat, if it's going against the current, is traveling at 3 miles per hour, right? 8 minus 5 is 3. So to get the time here, again, you can do distance divided by rate. So 36 divided by 3 is going to give me 12. So that means for this scenario, they are traveling for 12 hours, right? So 12 hours at 3 miles per hour, you're going to go 36 miles. Now, what about the other guy? Well, we know that the current is 5 miles per hour, and in still water, the boat's traveling at 8 miles per hour. So 8 plus 5 is 13. So this guy's going 13 miles per hour. And 156, which is your distance, divided by 13, which is your rate, well, that's going to give you 12, so that's 12 hours as well. So we'll arrow down there and just say this is also 12 hours. So again, we know this is correct because it's the same amount of time. It's 12 hours to go 36 miles against the current, and it's 12 hours to go 156 miles with the current. So this is our correct solution. It's going to be 8 miles per hour for the speed of the boat in still water. All right, let's take a look at problem number 2 now. So we have that Heather, a traveling salesperson, first drove 1,200 miles from Alberta to Prairieville. For her second trip, she drove 975 miles from Prairieville to Atlanta. If the two trips took the same amount of time and Heather's speed on the second trip was 15 miles per hour slower than on the first trip, how fast was she driving on each trip? So in other words, how fast was she driving when she went from Alberta to Prairieville? And then how fast was she driving when she went from Prairieville to Atlanta? So first trip and second trip, let's say. So let's come down here. Again, another motion word problem. So we have distance is equal to rate of speed times time traveled. And I'm just going to go first, and then I'm going to go second. And let's just fill in the table. We'll come up here and say on the first one, it's 1,200. On the second one, it's 975. So 1,200 for the distance, and then 975. For the rate, it says just that Heather's speed on the second trip was 15 miles per hour slower than on the first trip. So let's go ahead and say that we're going to let x be equal to her speed, we'll say on the first trip. So then specifically here it says that her speed on the second trip was 15 miles per hour slower than on the first trip. So what I'll go ahead and say here is then x minus 15, because it's 15 miles per hour slower, that's going to be her speed, and that's going to be on the second trip. So coming down here, I'll put x and then x minus 15. So just like we saw in the previous example, we have where the two trips took the same amount of time. So you see it right there. The two trips took the same amount of time. Okay, so that's the key. So you want to set the two times equal to each other, but we don't have a time at this point for either one. So again, to model that, you solve the distance formula for time. And again, you get d is equal to r times t. Divide both sides by r, you get t, or time, is equal to distance divided by rate. So 1,200 is the distance divided by the rate, which is x. So 975, which is the distance, divided by x minus 15, which is the rate. Okay, so now we know the times are going to be set equal to each other. So this guy right here is going to be set equal to this guy right here. So we would have 1,200 over x is equal to 975 over x minus 15. Again, you might want to note your domain, because sometimes when you solve these types of problems, you get a quadratic and then one of the solutions may not work or make sense. But I would just say right now that x can't be 0 and x can't be 15, just to note it. So what we would say, we would cross multiply here. So we'd have x times 975, that's 975x, is equal to this x minus 15 times 1,200. So 1,200 times the quantity x minus 15. Again, if you have a calculator, it's not that big of a deal. But if you don't, you might want to divide both sides by, in this case, 75, because that would be your greatest common factor between 975 and 1200. Again, not necessary, but it will make it easier. So this divided by this is going to be 13. So you'd have 13x is equal to. This divided by this is going to be 16. So you'd have 16x minus 16 times 15 is 240. So let's subtract 16x away from each side. We'll cancel that away. 13x minus 16x is negative 3x. And this equals negative 240. Let's divide both sides by negative 3. Let's cancel this with this and say x is equal to negative 240 divided by negative 3. That's going to be positive 80. So x is 80. So coming back up here, the speed on the first trip is 80 miles per hour. So I'm just going to put first, we'll put 80 miles per hour. And then for the second, it's going to be 15 miles per hour slower. So 65 miles per hour. All right, so to check this, I would take this distance of 1200 and divide it by this speed, which is 80 miles per hour. So 1200 divided by 80 is 15. So she travels for 15 hours. Now, what we need to see to verify this solution is to say, if I travel at 65 miles per hour for 15 hours, am I going to go 975 miles? Well, let's punch that into the calculator. And 15 times 65 is 975. So this is a verified solution. On the first trip, or from this Alberta to Prairieville, she was traveling at 80 miles per hour. On the second trip, where she's going from Prairieville to Atlanta, she was traveling at 65 miles per hour. All right, let's take a look at problem number 3. So we have that working alone, it takes Amanda 12 hours to cut the field. Her brother James can cut the same field in only 4 hours. How long would it take to cut the field if they work together? All right, so the idea here is that we have this rate of work problem, or we'd say work rate problem. If you're given the rate of work for each individual and you're asked to find how long it takes if they work together, then basically you think about 1 unit of time for each person. So for Amanda, in 1 unit of time, which is 1 hour, she's done 1/12 of the job. You're going to add that to the amount of the job that James can do in an hour. Takes him 4 hours, so in an hour he's done 1/4 of the job. If we get a common denominator here, I'll multiply this by 3 over 3. This is 3 over 12 here. And then 3 over 12 plus 1 over 12 is 4 over 12, which is basically 1/3. Now, if you tell me that 2 people can work together and in an hour they've done 1/3 of the job, then I know it takes them 3 hours to complete that job. But how do we write that out mathematically? Well, I would say 1/3, which is the amount of work that's done in 1 hour when they're both working together, times x, which is the number of hours it takes to complete the job, would be equal to 1 for 1 completed job. So that's how you set up the equation. So this here, we would just basically multiply both sides by 3. So multiply by 3 over here and by 3 over here. So this would cancel and you get x is equal to 3. So essentially it would take 3 hours if they were working together. So I'm just going to say 3 hours. Now, can we check this? Of course. You would take Amanda's contribution, which is 1/12 of the job every hour for 3 hours. Now, she's going to get 1/4 of that job done, right, over the 3 hours. So she's done 1/4 of the job. Then plus, for James, he does 1/4 of the job every hour for 3 hours. So he's going to do 3/4 of that job. So if you combine what they each do, she's going to do 1/4 for Amanda, and then he's going to do 3/4 for James. So that's going to be 1/4 plus 3/4, or 1 for 1 completed job. So this is our correct answer. It would take them 3 hours if they work together. All right, let's take a look at problem number 4. So here we have working together. Jason and Peter can pressure wash a parking lot in 4 hours. When Jason works alone, it takes him 20 hours. How long does it take Peter when he works alone? So this is a variation on the original type of problem for the rate of work problem. I want you to think about if you had Jason's individual rate of work and Peter's individual rate of work, what would you do? Well, it tells me that Jason, when he works alone, it's 20 hours. So in an hour, he's done 1/20 of the job. Then plus, for Peter, we don't know. But if we had a certain number of hours, let's just say it was X hours, something like 15 hours or 30 hours or whatever it is, let's just say X hours. Well, then in an hour, it's 1 over whatever that is, so 1/X. Now, when I sum these two amounts together, I get the amount of work that they both do together in an hour. Now, if I multiply that by the number of hours it takes to complete the job, which it tells us here is 4 hours, I should get 1 completed job. So there's my equation. It's not that bad. Again, if you're lost on something like this, just go through it the same way you would if you had Jason's rate of work and Peter's rate of work, and you were asked to find how long it takes when they're working together. Here, you're just trying to figure out how long it takes for Peter when he works alone. So we're going to get that as our solution here for x. So let's just distribute the 4. So you'd have 4 over 20, and then plus 4 over x, and this equals 1. So this is basically 1/5. Let's just make that simpler. And then you can just multiply everything by 5x. So multiply this by 5x. Let me slide this down here. I'll multiply this by 5x and this by 5x. And then this 5 is going to cancel with this 5. You get x plus, this x is going to cancel with this x. You get 4 times 5 is going to be 20, and this equals 1 times 5x is 5x. So what we can do here is subtract 5x away from each side, and then subtract 20 away from each side. We will cancel this right here and cancel this right here. X minus 5x is negative 4x, and this equals, this will be negative 20. Let's divide both sides by negative 4, and we're going to get x is equal to 5. Now, I would note here, because we were working with a rational equation, that x couldn't be 0, right? But we got x is equal to 5, so we're okay. Now, coming back, I'm just going to put 5 hours here. That was my solution for x. All right, if you want to check this, think about the fact that Jason, when he works alone, it takes him 20 hours. So let me write 1 over 20. That's what he's going to do in an hour. Now, again, if they're working together, it's 4 hours total. Okay, so times 4. What's he going to do? So 20 divided by 4 is 5. So he's going to do 1/5 of this job. Then plus, we know now for Peter, it takes him 5 hours when he works alone. So in an hour, he's done 1/5 of the job. Again, they're doing this for 4 hours when they work together. So this is 4/5. So you take Jason's contribution, he's going to do 1/5 of the job, plus Peter's contribution, he's going to do 4/5 of the job, and that's going to be 1 completed job. So this answer is correct here. It's going to take Peter 5 hours when he works alone. All right, let's take a look at problem 5 now. So we have that a local welding shop uses water tanks for cooling purposes. We have that the inlet pipe can fill an empty water tank in 5 hours, while the outlet pipe takes 10 hours to empty a full water tank. If both pipes are turned on at the same time, how long would it take to fill a completely empty water tank? So this one might give you a little bit of trouble, but you just need to realize that you have 2 competing forces. So if you had an empty water tank, then this inlet pipe could fill it in 5 hours. So in other words, in 1 hour, it's done 1/5 of that job. Then for the outlet pipe, if you had a completely full water tank, it can empty it in 10 hours. So in 1 hour, it's done 1/10 of that job. So since these guys are competing forces, you would take this guy right here, the amount that came in an hour, and subtract away this guy right here, the amount that went out in an hour, right? Because I'm trying to fill it. So this is what I'd want to figure out first. This would be the net amount of water that's coming into that tank in 1 hour. So let's say that this is times 2 over 2. So this would basically be 2 over 10. So 2 over 10 minus 1 over 10, which is 1 over 10. So in an hour, I've filled 1/10 of the tank. So we know it's going to be 10 hours. But again, officially, we would just say this is times x, and this equals 1. Multiply both sides by 10 for completeness. And we would say that x here is equal to 10, right? So it would take 10 hours. And again, if you want to check this, it's pretty simple. You would say that for the inlet pipe, again, it can fill it in 5 hours. So basically, you would say in an hour, it's done 1/5 of the job. It's going to do that every hour for 10 hours. So basically, this is going to be that it would have filled 2 water tanks, right? So this is 2. Then you have to subtract away what's been emptied, right? So this guy, it takes 10 hours to empty a full water tank. So in an hour, it's emptied 1/10 of it. And this is going to happen for 10 hours. And so 1/10 times 10 is 1. So if you look at what you get here, you get 1 full water tank, right? This is what it filled over the 10 hours. It gave you 2 of them. And this is what was emptied over the 10 hours. It was 1 of them. So 2 minus 1 gives you 1. So that's going to be 1 full water tank.